Hey boys, it's HarmNone. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 10 best looking cars in Grand Theft Auto Online. So this is going to be purely in terms of looks, and customization is going to be factored in a little bit because some customization does really enhance the look of some of these cars. But most of these cars look really good stock in just a nice color. So anyways, this should be a pretty interesting list, give you guys some good ideas for cars that you may or may not want to buy, and things like that. Leave a like if you enjoy, dislike if you don't, and consider subscribing if you guys are new. Let's go ahead and get started with number 10. At number 10, we got the Dubocci Massacre for $275,000. Now, while the Massacre isn't the most customizable car ever, it is an absolutely incredibly good looking car. It's primarily based off the second generation Aston Martin Vanquish, which was produced from 2012 to 2018. The Massacre in-game isn't necessarily the best car in GTA Online by any means. It has a couple of issues like some slight understeer as well as older feeling performance because this vehicle is from 2014. However, it has stood the test of time in GTA Online, and it looks like it could have honestly come out yesterday. The customization options for the vehicle were also pretty good, especially as far as 2014 vehicles go. Most of the customization options do turn the car into more of a race car than a Grand Tourer, which it is kind of supposed to be, but it is very nice to still have customization options and have the ability to make this car look a little bit more aggressive if you elect to. This car is awesome, and for 275 grand, you really can't go wrong with it. Matter of fact, it's on sale 50% off this week at Simeon's, so you guys should go and check that out if you guys are interested. Next up at number 9, we got the Grotti Turismo Omaggio for $2,845,000, and I've decided to include the Omaggio on this list because I do think that this car is fantastic looking in every single aspect except for one. Now, this car looks incredible. It's got a lot of customization options that fit the vehicle very nicely, and it has absolutely excellent performance and looks really good as even a stock vehicle. The issue that I do have with the Omaggio, as I mentioned the other day in my best supercars video, lies with the respray option. And this vehicle for some reason only has a primary respray option. That means there's no secondary or no trim color option for your vehicle, and this means that if you want to paint your car yellow, for example, you're going to have a full yellow interior on the vehicle. I feel like this is a massive oversight by Rockstar, and I definitely feel like this was unintentional, so I do hold out hope that they will fix this one day, but it does seem pretty unlikely given that this car's been out for over a year now. I guess a man can dream, but this is definitely something that is annoying about the Omaggio. Luckily, there are a lot of carbon options for the car, so you can kind of almost make it look like it's two different colors in a way with that, but it's not the same as just having a secondary respray option. But the main thing for me is the interior option. Like having a yellow interior that goes with the outside of your car being yellow too, it's just kind of gross looking, man. So I really hope that Rockstar fixes this one day. Next up, I had to include the Obey 10F on this list for $1,675,000. And I don't even really think I need to say anything for the 10F, but I will anyways. This vehicle looks great from any angle you see it from. Plus, the customization for the vehicle is extremely extensive. It looks just like the 2018 and newer Audi R8s. Although a big problem that I personally do have with the 10F is the fact that it's being rear-wheel drive. And before you comment, yes, I'm aware that they make RWS models of the R8, and those are rear-wheel drive, but the R8 is an iconic all-wheel drive car in real life, so making it rear-wheel drive just kind of seems strange to me. I don't really know why they decided to do that, but anyways, it still has good handling and pretty good performance anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Additionally, if the regular 10F isn't enough for you, they also do have a Benny's upgrade to make it into the 10F widebody with a bunch of additional customization available for it, plus a widebody kit that looks pretty good. And it also has a slight performance increase with the widebody version in comparison to just the regular 10F. But this vehicle definitely 100% deserves to be on a best looking cars list, so that's why it's here. Next up at number 7, we got the Grotti Italia GTO for $1,965,000. Now, I may be slightly biased about this because I do love the Grotti Italia GTO, and not to be confused with the Grotti Italia GTO Stinger TT, by the way, this is just the GTO. And I think it's one of the best looking cars in the entire game. Now, it's awesome performance wise, and I think that people underestimate just how good looking the car can also be because they're just so focused on how good the car performs. but this car actually has really good customization options, especially if you want to make a two-tone vehicle. There's a lot of good secondary color options so you can kind of accent it nicely, but even if you want to make it all one color, it still looks really, really good. But the customization on the car has something for everybody, whether or not you want to make a pretty bare bones stock looking GTO or a full-blown like kitted out race car. You can find what you need to make either of those options a reality with the Italia GTO. Regardless of customization, just some simple color choices or color combos for this car, or just one solid color, can look absolutely awesome, just like the real life counterpart, which is of course the Ferrari 812 Superfast. This vehicle though is a performance bargain. For under $2 million, you can't get a better performing vehicle than this. It's crazy good, and I would definitely recommend that you buy one of these whenever you can. At number 6, we got the Annis ZR350 for $1,211,500 if you got the trade price, to $1,615,000 if you don't have the trade price. Now, the ZR350 I figured I should probably include on the list because I can't really make a list of the best looking cars without mentioning at least one JDM car, so naturally I decided on the ZR350, which is based off the 3rd generation Mazda RX-7, which is commonly referred to in the community as the FD. This vehicle looks a little bit boring on the stock end of things, but with the customization options that it has available for it, as well as the pop-up headlights, which are quite rare in GTA Online, they do help to make it a pretty awesome looking vehicle and look a little bit better than it does just bone stock. Now this car came out with the Tuners DLC back in the summer of 2021, and all the cars released with that particular update had fantastic customization options, which of course the ZR350 got too. There are a plethora of bumper, side skirt, spoiler, hood options, exhausts, and many, many more customization options for this vehicle, including weird things like tinted headlights and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Additionally, this vehicle also has a drift tuning modification that can be applied at the LS car meet available for it, and that allows you to drift the car super easily. So this is just an awesome car generally, and it's very good looking, particularly when customized, and if you do a tasteful job, it can look absolutely awesome. I would definitely say this is a good car to buy, particularly because you can drift tune it as well, which is just an added bonus on top of the great looks. At number 5, we got the Ennis Paragon R for $905,000. Now the Paragon R right now is a removed vehicle technically, but if you have an auto shop property, this will come in occasionally as a customer vehicle, which will allow you to purchase it from inside the auto shop by walking up to it if it is in there on one of the hoists. However, if not, you can purchase this from another player through the LS car meet, and the Paragon R is based off the 2018 Bentley Continental Super Sports. In-game it has a decent amount of customization, and with just a few simple options, you can turn the Paragon from looking like your grandfather's Bentley into an aggressive, track-oriented car, or a super simple, clean build. Regardless, it's really easy to make this car look good. It's also one of those cars that just looks good in every single color in the game, which is pretty rare. Not many cars can pull off a brown, but the Paragon R can. The performance is also super underrated on this thing. It's actually one of the best sports cars in the entire game, particularly if you don't have HSW on your platform, but if you do, it's still pretty decent. It's just not going to beat any HSW cars. This car is also fairly cheap, especially for the performance and the looks that you're getting, so I definitely think this is a good one to pick up if you get a chance to. This thing is awesome. Definitely buy one. At number 4, we got the Pegassi Torero XO for $2,890,000, which is pretty expensive, but it is pretty worth it. In the summer of 2022, ROCKSTAR released the Torero XO alongside the Criminal Enterprises DLC, which was a massive update that saw many heavily requested quality of life changes into GTA Online, like the Oppressor Mark II nerf, as well as selling in invite-only lobbies and things like that. And this DLC had a massive hype behind it, and one of the reasons for that was because of the teaser picture that ROCKSTAR dropped of the Torero XO. And as soon as everybody saw that picture, including me, it was pretty much decided that this car was going to be the best car in the entire update, and there were some heavy hitters in there. And it was the best car from the update. The Torero XO, short of HSW cars, is one of the very fastest supercars in Grand Theft Auto Online top speed-wise. Beyond that though, the Torero XO had an incredible diversity in the customization options, and this vehicle was among the first to debut the new forged carbon fiber customization option style, which had only been seen on a few cars since this thing came out. Beyond this, there were plenty of hood, bumper, roof, skirt, exhaust options, and many, many more things that you could change on the car. Regardless of customization though, it's pretty hard to deny just how incredibly good the Torero XO looks. It's super similar to the real-life 2022 throwback that Lamborghini produced for the 50th anniversary of the legendary Lamborghini Countach. This vehicle is truly awesome and it's definitely one I would recommend picking up. At number 3, we got the overflawed Entity MT for $2,355,000. Now the Entity MT is a car that I haven't really loved throughout its existence in GTA Online. It does have a lot of issues, particularly on the performance side of things. I do think that Rockstar copied the files over from the overflawed Entity XXR, which was released a few years prior to the MT, and just copied it onto the MT, and the result of this is that the car has engine resistance, which makes it far slower than it should be. The gears don't shift correctly, they have delayed shifting, and it just causes a whole slew of problems, mainly making the top speed and acceleration far worse. And the XXR had these same issues years prior. However, with HSW, this vehicle is actually pretty tolerable to drive. Regardless of any of this though, the look of this vehicle is absolutely incredible. It's primarily based off the Koenigsegg Jesko or Jesko and gives you the customization options to choose which model of the Jesko or Jesko you want to build. Whether it's the Attack or the Absolute, you can also make this car topless, as well as change up nearly every other option on the entire vehicle, allowing you to truly make this car your own and however you want it to be, which I do like. I just wish that the performance backed up the insane looks that this thing has on all platforms, not just for people that have HSW available for their car. At number 2, we got the Grotti Italia RSX for $2,598,750, and that's for the trade price. The normal price for this thing is $3,465,000. This thing is based heavily on the Ferrari SF90, and this vehicle is so close to being perfect, and honestly I think this car has a case to be made for the best looking car in the entire game. The body lines look super good. The addition of the great customization options also helps a lot, and there's a lot of tasteful mods you can do to this vehicle to make it look even better. Like the Italia GTO that we mentioned a little bit earlier, there's also a lot of great options to make this car look really clean in a two-tone build, so that's another thing that I definitely appreciate about the RSX. Now this car does have a couple of issues sadly, one being the price. This is the most expensive sports car in GTA Online, and it's pretty far off from being the best at anything, especially with the addition of HSW to GTA Online. As a matter of fact, the RSX costs more than a lot of sports cars and their HSW upgrades that are sometimes $1 million or more, which is crazy to me. Now on top of this, probably the most glaring issue with the car is the fact that the spoiler options are glitched on it, meaning that no matter what, this car does not get any additional downforce by applying a spoiler to the vehicle. And this is very detrimental, particularly when racing the car. It's very fast in a straight line, you just need to learn it in the corners, which is tough, and no matter what you do, it's still, you just can't beat a car with downforce in the corners with a car that has no downforce. So that aspect of it really kind of sucks, but it is definitely still a pretty great car. But I would only really buy it if you're balling out of control in GTA Online. Like, you gotta have M's on M's before you buy the RSX, that's for sure. For some honorable mentions, I got the Bravado Banshee GTS for $1,989,500. I think this thing looks awesome. You can go for a pretty stock looking regular Dodge Viper build with it, or you can go for a super aggressive Dodge Viper ACR style build as well to make it more of a time attack or track car, which I think is pretty sweet. I think the customization fits super well in this thing, and the performance is obviously absolutely insane. It's the fastest top speed car on last gen and with HSW applied to it. So on two different styles of GTA Online, this is still the fastest car in the game top speed wise, which is crazy. Customization's awesome, the looks of the car are awesome, and it's pretty much a bargain. For less than $2 million, getting a car that's this good is actually almost unheard of. The only thing that I could even kind of compare it to is the Italia GTO, but that car is far slower than the GTS. So this thing wipes the floor with a lot of cars, and it's cheap. You should definitely have one. Another honorable mention that I thought I should include on the list is, of course, the Annis Elegy Retro Custom. This thing is going to cost you $904,000 by the time you're done upgrading it from the Elegy RH8 into the Retro Custom. It's one of the most customizable cars in the game. The Retro Custom upgrade of the RH8 is a Benny's upgrade, and this will turn it obviously into an R32/33/34 Skyline. It kind of has aspects of all three, but you can nerd out over it in the comments if you really want to. It's got a lot of customization though. It looks really, really good. The performance is pretty decent, although it is a little bit slower than the regular RH8, which is kind of insane for $904,000, getting a bit of a downgrade, but it is what it is. Still a really good looking car, really fun to drive, sounds awesome. it's a good one to pick up for sure. And for the last honorable mention, I thought I should include the Ubermarkt Cypher because I feel like this thing is insane looking. $1,162,500 if you got the trade price to $1,550,000 if you don't. This thing was also added in the tuners update alongside the Anis ZR350, making it have a ton of customization options. This thing has really good handling. It also has a drift tuning modification for it as well, so you can drift this, which is pretty sweet. The Cypher is pretty much a one-to-one copy of the BMW M2 in real life, which it's based off of, and I think that ROCKSTAR knocked it out of the park with the look of this thing. You can make it super aggressive, you can make it look like an M240i. You can do a lot with the Ubermarkt Cypher, and I really think it is a great looking car, and it's really good performance-wise, customization-wise, and drifting-wise for the money. It's pretty hard to beat this thing, honestly a really good car. But at number 1 we got the Pegasi Ignis for $2,765,000, and I decided that the Pegasi Ignis had to take the number 1 spot on this list. Now, I never really considered the Ignis to be that amazing of a car looks-wise until I bought one during a Top Gear challenge that my friends and I used to film. And when I bought it, I decided to put it in a bright color. I made it into an orange. I believe it's just a regular orange, and this made all the difference. This car absolutely belongs in a bright color, and if you do this and put some customization options on the vehicle, particularly carbon options, I feel like, I don't think there's another vehicle in the game that can hold a candle to this car. It looks incredibly good from every single angle. The customization options all fit super well on the car. It is just an incredibly good looking vehicle, and somehow, short of the weaponized Ignis, you will never see anybody driving this thing, despite being added in 2021, which is pretty crazy. I think it's such a shame, and the driving experience complements the looks of the car so well. The vehicle is based off of the Lamborghini Sion in real life, which is a fantastic and super rare car. I definitely think the Ignis is underrated by the community largely, and I definitely think you guys should pick one of these things up if you got some spare change lying around. It's a really good car. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this one. Definitely look into it. So anyway guys, there you have it. Those are my picks for the 10 best looking cars in GTA Online, plus a couple of honorable mentions obviously. Let me know what you thought of my list in the comments down below. Do you think I snubbed anything or left anything off? Comment a 7 if you made it to the end of the video, leave a like if you enjoyed or you learned something, if not dislike of course, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Peace.